All right. Preparing. Thank you for your patience, everybody. We'll be ready to go in just a few more moments. It's just loading. And we are now live. Phil, it's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Welcome, everyone, to the Town of Henrietta Conservation Board, March 2nd, 2021 meeting. I would like to remind everyone that the meeting is being recorded and it is being streamed on one of the major avenues. Roll call, William Santos, I'm here. Robin Savaglia. Bud Snyder. Here. Steve Coffey.
Here.
Noreen Reardon.
Here.
Sarah Hogan.
Here.
Richard Alford.
Here.
Great to see everyone. We have a full house. First item for agenda is the meeting minutes for February 2nd, 2021. I need a motion for those, please. Robin.
I'll second.
Was that Noreen? Thank you, Noreen. Are there any comments? Corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. 7-0. Great. Are there any board member reports?
I have something I wanted to talk about, but I thought if I waited till after the presentation, that might be better.
Sounds good. Yes, we received an email from Heather, right? Or Sarah from with some pictures, right? You want to talk about some issues? All right, great. So we'll postpone that. Next item on the agenda is the application review number 20-003, Marwood Partners for review of final site plan for an outdoor truck parking area for company-owned trucks located adjacent to 39 Commerce Drive in a commercial B1 zone district with a mixed use redevelopment area overlay. And do we have a presenter here tonight?
Yes. Good evening. It's Mina Amari.
Hi, Mina. Thanks for coming in tonight, virtually.
Thank you for.
So would you like to make a presentation, describe the project for us?
Yes, I would like to. Thank you. So previously at this property, there was a factory which was burned a long time ago. So on the right hand side, which I would say west side of the property, was a parking they used to use it as a parking lot. So right now we want to reuse it again for our own truck owned company. Company owned trucks as a parking lot, just a parking lot. But in the future, I've already submitted all the paperwork to DEC. They approved the change of use that I want to use the west side of the property only for parking. They accept it. And so in the future, as we move along with the permission of the town of Henrietta and the DEC, we would like to rebuild the property again, because it looks like, in the whole area is commercial industrial, and that's the only property is right now the dead and vacant. So we want to restart that again, obviously with the permission of the town and the DEC. So like I said, right now the site plan shows that there will be parked only 7 trucks. Like I said, it's just the only company owned, because right now we're using Gulf Truck Stop in Henrietta on the Lehigh Station. And it's very hard because people still, there's a limited space. And just because we buy from them fuel, they're letting us temporarily park there. But they've been requesting us to move and find our own space. There's our friends' warehouse that couple of my trucks been parking there, and they also like up on us, telling us we have to move, we have to find our own space. And there was an incident that, somebody broke in my trailer and stole some freights with which I had to claim on my insurance, and that cost us a lot. So this is why I want now to use this west side of the property just for my own company owned trucks, just for parking, nothing else. We're not doing any major changes. We're not doing anything. We're not letting other companies or other trucks to come enter our property. This is only for us.
Okay, great. Been made. So who would like to go first? Bud.
I'll
Bud.
take that. Okay. Well, welcome tonight. Several quick questions. First of all, you said it's all your own company trucks. Is that correct?
Correct,
Not
sir.
rental trucks or anything? I mean, other companies' trucks parked there. Will
No,
they be,
just our own.
okay. Will they be loaded with cargo, or are they basically empty while they're parked?
Most of the time they'll be empty because my trucks always leave Sunday afternoon. They leave and they come back Friday night. So literally I use it for maybe just a weekend. And for example, we bring the freight at night. We have to deliver it next day in Rochester. And so we do deliveries next day. And like I said, but they're always on the go. They won't be stopped at the property whole week, only on the weekend.
Okay, I understand. How deep are you planning on having the base that you're going to be driving on and the crushed stone on top? Because tractor trailers, if they do have any weight on them, weigh quite a bit and can kind of sink in quite a bit. If crushed stone is going to be your final surface, I'm questioning how much of a base you're planning on having, for how deep it will be.
But right now, I believe we're going only 4-inch. Just so, because of the weather, like as you know, and the rain and the snow and stuff, we don't want the trucks get stuck on the mud. So as of now, we're doing just a 4-inch, but in the future, we're planning to pave.
Oh, you're planning on blacktopping it, paving it with asphalt, you're saying?
Yes, but not anytime soon. As of now, just a crushed stone 4-inch.
Okay. If we approve it and you pave it, you're gonna have, that's gonna cause a different situation with runoff of the stormwater and the like.
Right. Like I said, it's not anytime soon because paving, as you guys know, it costs a lot. We're not a huge company. We family owned, small, with just a few trucks. So down the road in the future, if we pave it, obviously we know we're aware that we have to make another site plan with the town of Henrietta's approval and a DEC. We will move forward. Otherwise, as of now, it's just a crushed stone.
Okay, I understand. How many acres are involved on the parcel where the parking lot's gonna go? And then total, how many acres are involved in your property there?
I believe that the whole property is divided into 2 parcels. West side of the property, that's a separate parcel. It's a 1.5 almost acre, and we use only 1 acre for parking.
Okay, thank you.
So was that you said the total acreage was roughly 1.5 acres and you're going to use 1 acre for parking? And
Correct.
Okay, total 1.5 acres with 1 acre parking. Is that all, Bud?
Yes, I think so,
Okay,
at first.
great. Who would like to go next? Anyone?
I can go.
Sarah?
Sure. So I just had some questions on the existing vegetation. I know it's noted on the plan, but it's not shown on the survey, the limits of existing vegetation. And typically you would see on a survey, trees larger than 4 inches. In caliper, you would see those larger trees, and just knowing this area in the site, it looks like there's, some mature trees on the parcel. So I'd be interested in seeing that on the plan and then understanding the limits of how much you guys are taking or proposing to clear of that.
Right now on the where we planning to use as a parking, there's no trees. Only on the south property with the border with the Ruby Gordon furniture, there is a trees of DEC which they planted for remediation purpose. That's it. But on a 1 acre on the west side of property, like I said, where we have a crushed stone and stuff, there's no trees.
As a follow-up, so are you saying the existing trees will be protected, basically?
Right.
Anything else, Sarah?
It looks like there's a lot of trees out there.
Looks
I'm
like,
not gonna lie. But maybe it's deceiving. I don't know.
looking
I don't know how updated is the survey, but when we purchased the property, over the years they were grown trees. It wasn't planted. It wasn't just over the years. It was naturally grown. So we ground level all, remove them. So that's why maybe on a side plan you don't see them, because they're removed already.
Okay, I guess the other thing would be that, there's no proposed plantings or any indication of the vegetation that's to remain. There's no seed mix, at least I didn't see one. It just seems like a very different plan. And then the idea of it just being crushed gravel, that still for these types of heavy trucks and the turning movements that they make, with backing up and parking, and I don't know, has this gone in front of the town planning board yet?
planning? Probably not.
Okay.
No,
I mean, I know
usually
they'll-
see it first.
I know they'll pick it up, a lot of that stuff.
So I could
When I was in a board meeting, I believe it was last month, that's when they just talked about the seeker. They didn't say anything, but they have all the application and site plan and everything submitted to them. So they told me that the next meeting with them will be in March 26th, I believe.
That's all I really have, there's not.
Okay. Those are good. Who's next?
Can I go next?
Noreen, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry your trucks are vandalized. That's really bad. Sorry to hear that. And then maybe I'm misunderstanding, but from what I think I understand, you're using a parking area that was used as a parking area in the past. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so no trees were removed by you. They were removed a long time ago, and somebody else has used that as a parking area.
Right. I mean, before it was as a parking area, but when the company was on fire, when they stopped using the property, then there was a building demolished. So since then, nobody used the property. The property always been vacant, and over the years, the previous owner never touched, never cleaned it. Like meaning, the trees or grass. So if you look at the previous picture, where it used to be company there, factory. Stuart Horse, I believe, if I'm not wrong, and the whole property was clean, perfectly, and that area was used as a parking. But like I said, over the years, I believe it's been I would say almost 20 years nobody used the property, and over the 20 years, it's just naturally, all the trees and those grasses were grown, and we just cleaned it. We just ground level it so we could put some crushed stone.
Okay. And then are your trucks tractor trailers or are they smaller trucks than that?
It's a semi trucks with the 53-foot trailers.
Okay. Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
You. Let's see, staying virtually. How about Steve? You got anything?
Hi, I just had a couple questions from the short environmental assessment form. It said that the project site on question 12B, it was an answered yes for adjacent to a historical preservation site. I didn't know exactly what that meant. Did you have any information on that?
Trust me, this is my first time. That was my first time I filled it up, that form, and
Okay.
with the idea, I did my best, to answer it, to my understanding. I could be wrong.
That's
but-
fine. That's fine. I was just sort of curious, that's all. And also on that 1 acre of that current parking lot, so how many trucks do you have would actually be able to reside in that parking lot at one time? How many trucks do you actually have?
I do have 5 trucks
Oh,
and
okay.
6
Okay.
trailers. So I'll be taking 6 space.
Okay. That's great. That's all I had. I was just sort of curious about that form. That's all. So thank you.
Thank you.
Steve, as a follow-up, are you asking what would be the total number of trucks you could actually fit in a 1 acre space, or?
Yeah. And then she also answered how many trucks she had, but I'd be curious of how many trucks could actually.
No, 1 acre,
It's 7. There are 7 parking spots.
there's 7 spots
Yes.
in that space now planned on the plan, yeah,
That's
so, okay. So Steve, there'd be 7 total. She's got 5 or 6 now, and
Okay.
with a little space for a couple more, it sounds like, right, Mina?
Right, correct.
Okay, great,
Great. Thank you.
yeah.
I guess I would add one more question on that. I mean, assuming that the turning radiuses of these trucks, is there sufficient space allocated for the trucks to maneuver in here and back up and park?
Correct. Yes, correct. The architect Reza is very well-known person. In Henrietta, he's done many projects. So the property has a lot of space, a lot of big space. So maneuvering, turning over is a no issue. Just because you see the 7 truck space, that's where they're gonna be parked, but there's a lot of other, big space for them to turn around and maneuver and stuff.
All right. Let's see, Robin or Richard, who would like to go? You're good? Okay, Robin's all set. Richard, anything?
Okay. I have a few things. Can you confirm that the spreading of the on-site dirt and asphalt is complete? That's what I understood according to your letter of intent.
Yes, there was 2 big piles of a concrete in an asphalt that was done by DEC. When they were planting the tree, I guess they dig the ground and they left it there. So we asked them what they wanted to do with it, whether they want to remove it. And so they took a sample, they tested, and there was no contamination. They told us that we can use it. So what we did, we used it, after we cut all the trees and cleaned that area, we spread that 2 piles of asphalt that was, from DEC. We used that, and on top of that, just to make even the whole ground. And then on top, we put some crushed stone, but we do have a couple of few piles of crushed stone still set in the property, because when we did it, we didn't know that we needed a permit from the town of Henrietta until engineer Mr. Chris, he came and he told us that we need to stop the work and get a permit first. But we do still have a couple of piles of crushed stone sitting at the property that needs to be spread out.
You did start spreading some stone, but you left the balance in piles.
The piles are used, we use those 2 piles to level the ground.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we just spread them, around the property. Sorry.
Okay, I have a few more.
Sure.
Proposed plan doesn't show any contours.
I'm sorry?
Proposed plan not show any contours or elevations. So I ask, what was the plan for grading for drainage or erosion control?
But I don't know about those, but I can speak to my architect, engineer guy, Mr. Raza, and I can find out more about that from him.
Okay, I would just recommend that you consider that, and I think it would help support approval of the site plan.
I believe the space for the on the ground, there is a place for the drainage. I don't know if I don't have the site plan in front of me, but husband noticed that and he showed to architect to to make sure he includes it on a site plan.
Okay. The other item, I'm going to touch on the 4-inch stone. A few other people have talked about the stone, and I personally, I feel that the 4 inches is minimum stone is not adequate. And I just wanted to ask you if you had any design guidelines that someone told you that to use 4 inches of number 2 stone would be adequate for the large heavy trucks.
Well, like I said, we used the the concrete that was done, there by DEC. We used that as well on that ground, to level up, and then on the top we put a 4 inches for crushed stone. But if Town of Henrietta believes that this is not enough, we can put more. But as of engineers, the architect Reza, he told us that the 4 inches is enough for the parking, because like I said, we use those asphalt and concrete by DEC. We spread it up, and on top we put those crushed stones. So it's not just a crushed stone.
Okay, so where I'm going with this now is I think that having your engineer or architect add some details on the plan to show, exactly what's there. You have a parking lot that consists of a certain type of soil or sub-base, and then you've added the crushed concrete, and now you're adding 4 inches of CR2. I just think those would help support your site plan approval, adding notes on the plan.
I forgot to mention, we also use between before we putting those crushed stone, we use, I don't remember the material name, but you guys might know. It's like it's like a material that we put it there, and on the top we put a crushed stone. So in that way, the crushed stone doesn't go all the way under the ground, so that the material protects them from, keeps them above the ground.
Yeah. So again, I would add that level of detail on the plan. I think that
Sure.
will go a long ways in helping your plan be approved. And then I have one more thing, and it's in regards to the entrance. So I would consider enhancing the entrance. Again, this goes back to, without knowing exactly how the whole parking area was built, the trucks coming in and out from the public road to the parking lot. Typically, you will enhance the entrance, meaning you're going to add, say, 6 or 8 inches of crushed stone with larger crushed stone base with fabric in order to protect the public roadway, because you're going to get a lot of pumping from these big trucks coming in and out of that entrance. So I would have your engineer look at the entrance specifically, maybe the first 100 feet, and consider enhancing that with greater than 4 inches of crushed stone.
By the entrance, when the trucks enter, that property already has it's paved already just on the left side of on the west side of the property where we're gonna park the trucks. It's gonna be crushed down, but the entrance, as soon you enter the property, there's already, the ground is already paved and asphalt, so we don't even need to put a crushed stone there.
Oh, so you already have a paved entrance?
Yeah, it's been like that
Okay.
from the,
How far does that go in roughly? I don't see
it's
that.
all the south side of the property. It's all the way to the south. Yes, by where the DC's trees are and the Ruby Garden furniture store, all that area is paved.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
Is that good, Richard, then?
That's good, but then I would suggest adding that to the plan because we could not tell that there was actual pavement there.
Sarah, did you see it on here? On this one? I didn't see it.
I'm looking at the here.
Oh, yeah, the pictures, sure.
It's broken asphalt. I mean,
Right,
I was there over the weekend with a little snow.
This is the entrance.
yeah,
It doesn't show on here very well.
right,
That's
right,
basically what they're gonna do. They're putting a gate in.
right.
That the surface that's under there. you should say, oh,
Yeah, so if you can show that on the plan, that would be helpful as well.
So I would like to talk more about some of the trees that I'd like to see added.
Richard, you good?
Just have one more last
Okay.
item. This is just a suggestion to add to your comments on the site plan. And it would basically say maintenance. The entrance shall be maintained in a condition which will prevent tracking or flowing of sediment onto the public right of way.
Got it.
That's it for me.
Great. Okay, great. Bud, back to you.
Okay. The applicants that we normally see before the board, that come with the applications, we have some standards that we go with. One is that there be a minimum of 28% green space on the parcel, on the property. Also that for landscaping purposes, there should be 8 trees per acre of the parcel. Now, I know that you're using a facility that had a factory there prior, and you're basically using just the parking lot. But even at that, figuring you have the acre and a half of land that you're working on to do the parking lot, and you want to have the facility look as nice as possible. Our guideline would be that you'd need 8 to 12 trees, perhaps along the fence line. You have a chain link fence all along commercial street, and in that area to shield the park trucks for one thing, and also as a buffer, but also for the appearance of the overall property. Would you have any difficulty in working with the engineering department, perhaps for where it should go, but putting a dozen trees along the road to enhance the appearance of the property? It would not work, I think, nicely for you as far as appearance, but also would upgrade the appearance of the property for your future use.
Well, like I said, the whole property is divided into 2 parcels, meaning, in tax wise, but there's a lot of trees still at the property. anywhere you would say, like, except I could be wrong, but the parking area we want to use, there are some, I believe there's still some trees on that side of property on the west side, but in the overall, in the whole entire property, there's more than 12 trees still exist as beautiful.
Well,
Help.
the trees, as you said, are basically wild trees. They've kind of grown up because the land wasn't used for a period of years. I'm saying that for appearance, it would be nice to have a row of trees along on the inside of the chain link fence where there's room. It'll also serve as green space. I don't know if you're planning on, I know you're restricting the crushed stone on the east end of or the south end of the property. But I don't know if you're planning on planting grass there or if that's going to be maintained. So I'm looking at, you know, the 28% of green space that could be done with overall with the two parcels. But I think it would be, you know, again, with the Conservation Board, we're looking at trees and landscaping to enhance the property for your sake too.
Yes, we can do that. Definitely, we can do that for sure. But as you guys know, also, like, where the area where the trucks will be parked, there won't be. There's not possible to do any grass because, you know, the trucks will damage them anyways. You know, if they you know, to park over, and trees also it will, you know, it will damage the trucks. You know, when you know we try to park, but and overall, the property, we will do everything our best to, and you know, to enhance the beauty and, you know, plant and grass, you know.
But on
So
two of your drawings, you show that the area that's going to have the crushed stone has a buffer all the way around it, between it and the fence. More on the end of the property, you've got about 80 feet or 60 feet there. But from where the trucks are parked, where the back end of the trailer will be, you still have what looks like a 20 or so foot buffer that runs between the crushed stone and the fence. And I'm saying that in that area, you could plant trees that would, for ornamental purposes, for decorative purposes, that would screen, but also enhance the appearance of the property.
we'll do it. Yes.
So, but as a follow-up,
Yeah.
we usually require 8 trees per disturbed acre, right?
Right.
So we're disturbing about an acre, right, that's the parking that we're doing. So you're requesting 8 trees or so?
Yeah, I would say 8
On
trees, maybe
the-
along that front line where, on Commercial Street,
Is there
on the inside of the fence, but before the crushed stone starts.
a north area on this? Is it north up?
Almost, yeah, north is up.
North is up on this, okay?
I would say, just to add to that, just consider looking at some tree plantings between the right of way and your fence. If you look, as you move west down Commerce Drive, you'll see other developments that have those street trees out in front of their parcels. That's what we're trying to replicate, you know, with the property.
Right.
Okay.
So that's along the west perimeter, right? West buffer zone?
I would almost call it, you know.
Is that this here?
No,
Oh, you want to hear?
I'm thinking it's along here,
Okay.
between the right of way and her fence.
Oh, the north, okay. Along the
I think
north,
that if she can't fit the trees in there, then there's, you know, room.
right,
I think there's some really big trees.
okay. So we'd prefer them along the north perimeter of the new gravel parking.
I just think it'll play with the streetscape that's
Yep.
the, you know, the other parcels in that, you know, commercial industrial area.
Yeah.
It'll just blend in well. Without overcomplicating too much.
I mean, the adjoining parcel has a tremendous, in fact, the entire parcel is on Commerce Drive there is trees. It's undeveloped. But
Yeah.
to extend that to make it look a little better on these two properties, they're kind of a hybrid anyways.
And we'll probably recommend not having the same tree, I take it. Have some diversity of plantings there.
And salt resistant.
Yes. Placing tree in the north room program with diverse and salt resistant trees. Anything else, Bud? That's it? You all set there? Okay, great.
Landscaping in there.
Everyone's hit most of my questions. I did have questions with stormwater and some plantings with trees and things like that. Our normal 25% green space and 8 trees per disturbed acre. And I think we just started to touch one of the other things I wanted to just ask about were the neighbors, and I think we started to touch on that now with regard to planting trees and matching up with the neighboring properties. So and most of it's industrial in this area, correct? So I don't think we have a concern with neighbors here other than we're trying to blend in. So
Right.
good. So yeah, thank you for coming in. Let me read what we have. The applicant stated the following. It's a former factory and they'd like to reactivate the parking lot for their company-owned trucks. The plan, let me rewrite this sentence. The plan indicates a total of 7 trucks. The applications to the DEC and now the town have been made. Most trucks are empty during storage. 4-inch crushed stone now has been installed or partially installed. I should put that down. Partially installed as recommended by your engineer. There's a total of 1.5 acres on the property and 1 acre is planned for this new parking. The existing trees will be protected. The scrub has been removed to make space for this parking. The trucks consist of semis with 30-foot trailers, I believe you said? 30-foot trailer? 50?
53. 53.
53, got it. Okay, great. 53. Yeah, that's the long ones. All right. The DEC checked soils for contamination. The concrete and soil piles were subsequently used to level grades. And then I heard the following comments from the Conservation Board. If paving is planned in the future, please submit to the town at that time. Consider proper base details that are designed for trucks. Check the turning radius for trucks. Consider adding drainage information to the plans. Show the existing paved entrance to protect the public roadway and add notes as such. The Henrietta Conservation Board standards are to have at least 25% green space and 8 trees per disturbed acre. We recommend placing trees along the north perimeter of the gravel parking with a diverse and salt resistive mix. Are there any other comments? Would you like
No.
me to reread anything? Noreen's all set. Steve, you all set?
Yes, thank you.
Great. I don't see anyone here with anything else, so I would need a motion to either approve, table, or deny. Motion to approve
I'll
by
second it.
Richard and seconded by Bud. Is there any discussion? I do have one thing that I'd like to add here, if that's okay with Richard and Bud. I would like to add a note at the bottom of those comments to say, please consult with the town engineer, have town engineer review final plans, if that's okay with
Excellent.
everyone here.
Yes, that would be fine. Good idea.
Final plans. Great. Is there any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Great, the motion has been approved, 7-0. Mina, thank you for coming in tonight and working and
Thank you.
with us.
Very good.
And
Thank you for
continue to work with Chris if you can, and I'm sure they'll do a great job with you. So yeah, appreciate your time tonight, and good luck.
thank you.
Too. Good luck. Hopefully it flourishes.
Thank you so much. So next is a special that I have to get this. I have to attend a special board meeting for special permit, or because I apologize if I'm confusing you guys, because
And you know
I've never
what?
done this before in
Either.
my life.
But you know who does know is the town staff. So
Yeah.
we get these notes, and then you'll probably get them from either Sarah, Heather, or town engineering. And then you can just call them, and they'll what are our next steps, and they'll walk you through it. All right.
Okay. Good.
Thanks for coming in
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for you guys' time too.
Okay, great. Okay, next item is Noreen had some business. So Noreen, you have the floor.
Sarah, are you able to show those pictures?
Let me try again. Let's see if that will work. Is that, are you able to see that?
Yeah.
Can see it well enough.
Stay on our side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's on its side. I'm sorry, I can't get that one corrected. But we've got
Wow.
that one.
I assume this is Patrick Pontiac.
How'd you know?
Wow.
I looked over.
Got this here with view that way.
Notice they're pruning.
Yeah, they've got dozens of trees there, and that was approved long before I was on the conservation board. And they just massacred those trees. This is the second time they've done it that I've noticed. And I went in and talked to them because, as you know, I'm an arborist, and talked to someone in there, and they said that the owner hates the trees. He only put them in there because the town made him, and he's, trying to keep them as small as possible, which basically it's their death sentence. And I don't know if we have any sort of procedure to prevent that from happening. I mean, the reason that we ask people to plant those trees is for the environmental benefits, and they certainly are not getting that at this property. So I just wanted you guys to have a look at them and see what you thought.
What kind of trees are they? Or were
Oh, there's
they?
a huge mix, and they're great trees, but there are maples and lindens and all kinds of different trees in there.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
What exactly are they doing? They're just cutting? Is that what's happening? They're just cutting the tips?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, that tree should be 25 feet tall based on the diameter of that trunk. And they make them like these little lollipops. They flush out, but all of that growth is weak. And it's like a desperate gasp for that tree to produce enough food to keep itself alive. It's not providing any environmental benefits whatsoever. It's like tree torture.
I was just gonna say it's torture.
Yeah, it's terrible. And that's not the reason that we ask people to plant these trees. It's because we need the trees, and it's their property and blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
what do you guys think?
Usually the trees help make property look nicer.
Mhm.
They're being pruned so it doesn't really look that Nice.
No, well, when they flush out, they look like little lollipops. And so, fine, that's cute, but they're not going to live with all this massacre year after year. And, like I said, it's the environmental benefits from that much space. The reason that you had them put that many trees in there is because we wanted stormwater absorption and, all those environmental benefits which you are not getting from these.
Yeah, I was gonna say with the car dealerships and the massive amounts of asphalt pavement, it helps with heat island.
Yes.
And, I don't know if we can do anything.
It's not offering any shading, is it?
No.
No.
And I understand their argument is they want people to be able to see their cars and they don't want to have to deal with the leaf litter or anything, but there are trees, and maybe Noreen, we can look at putting that into our design guidelines or amending, trees that could be used in some of these areas where there's, car dealerships, that don't drop a lot of, I think instantly of crab apples, and I know there's a couple of
Yes.
trees that are non-fruit bearing. Still small trees, still provides value, but yeah, I don't know if there is anything we can do.
Well, the plans were approved with so many trees, right? So they're supposed to maintain that.
Mm.
Well, I was on the board when we approved that and sticking with our guidelines, we required the trees. We didn't, but at that time, we didn't have the expertise that we now have on the board regarding the species and what's best to have. If I remember correctly, that particular property has a small triangle on its northeast corner. And the trees that they have, I don't think even number the number we required, but I think they planted some trees and more landscaping in that triangle that's in the back portion, goes up into the bean farm. And although that didn't, their purpose was to display the cars. And I can speak from experience that some certain kinds of trees drop seeds or whatever at one time during the year. I had parked that down at the bus terminal one night. I came back when my new car was covered with droppings from the tree. So I suppose that from their standpoint, they would like to not have it. My question is, what should we have, if we had known what you guys know now and what we're learning, what kinds of trees should we have had? What kind of requirements should there have been? And should we recommend that these trees be replaced with something that's more agreeable to them, but in actuality is also better from all the knowledge that you have, what kind of trees should be planted there and to avoid this happening again?
Well, there are very few trees that don't drop their leaves. This is a maple right there that, it doesn't have fruit or anything like that. Most of the trees on the property are not fruiting trees. So you would have to expect there's going to be some cleanup. I can't recommend a single tree that doesn't drop something. Even evergreens drop needles, and there's mess associated with trees, and you would have to clean them up for sure. But I think that's kind of like a balancing act that we need. We have trees that we're recommending that they have trees for a reason. And that has to be part of their maintenance plan for their property, cleaning up the trees when they need to. Get a blower, and it's not that hard. Actually, they spend so much time pruning them that all that unnecessary pruning will just let the trees grow.
Will they grow back? Will they recover?
They're ruined. They're absolutely ruined.
I will add one additional comment. That was as a car dealership, that was state of the art in terms of waste or stormwater treatment, where every bit of water that drops on that entire parking lot is collected and treated several times, and that includes where the cars are parked and oil that drips off or salt that comes on that. And we were pleased with that part of the proposal.
Nice.
That costs a lot of money and I think works well, but, you know, the follow through on the trees was, this is sad to hear, but I would like to get some sort of solution. I'm also thinking that they would be willing to cooperate with an alternative suggestion from us.
I don't know, can you make a complaint? Can the conservation board make a complaint to like code enforcement, or I don't know how that would work? Or is it just more or less doing what you did, Noreen, and just stopping in and, you know, informing them, and maybe that's all we can do, just give them the information.
Yeah, maybe. I thought about asking Chris too, Chris Martin. And I wanted to get your feel for it first before I said anything.
Like I said, the application was approved with a certain number of trees, so they.
I mean, I think the pull together here is we need to know if there is any law within the code that allows us to assess a ticket or whatever it is that code enforcement assesses in reference to this. It's something to us going forward to realize when we get a car dealership coming in here, that's going to be a reality no matter what tree gets planted there. So we have to be more thoughtful and maybe force more trees out towards the road rather than within the parking lot. I mean, I think that's where I would start, is find out what's in the code and what the recourses that we as a conservation board have. I mean, can we force them to replant some trees along the road to replace the ones that they're destroying? I don't know. Again, I don't know who we would ask. That might even go to the town attorney. You might even send an email to the town attorney and just ask that question.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Maybe it's nothing more than just a recommendation.
Would point out that we are dealing with car dealerships more recently, have been fruitful in like Kitty Van Border. When there was a question of how many trees could go on, she said, well, you know, she needed to be able to have the cars displayed out front, but she would be happy to donate trees to the tree bank for the town and have them planted someplace else. Mitigation kind of situation. At the time, Patrick GMC was approved, we didn't have that as an option.
Right.
And, you know, they're in business to sell cars and trucks, not to be arborists. And, you know, we need to be aware of that, but still come up with a solution. And I'm glad you brought it to the attention of the board.
Yeah, I think, you know, that's a good point, Robin, about the design of the property, that there ought to be a place where trees can be, that it doesn't conflict with the car display, you know, where, like you said, but along the road, or maybe there could be islands with just dedicated trees that the cars wouldn't be in that spot. So yeah, that's a good idea about going forward. Just keep that in mind. Or more trees near the building. I'm not really sure, but.
Yeah, has Chris and crew seen the pictures or not, or
I didn't send them to them, no.
Can we reach out to them and see what the next step would be?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Path or anything, but it just, you know, maybe reach out and say, hey, what can we do here? You know, work with them. So yeah, because we're interested in keeping the town looking nice, obviously, and doing the right thing for the environment as well. So, but we want to keep them in business. As you know, they want to stay in business. We want them to stay in business.
Right.
So, yeah, if we could, I don't know if that's something Sarah or Heather can give us some advice on, and see what the next step would be. That would be great.
Yeah, I'll definitely talk with Heather some more tomorrow, as well as we can always, I think following up with Don is a great idea to see what the steps are as well.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Pointing that out, Noreen. That's great. Good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anything else for this meeting? New business, old business? Any recommendations for there was one recommendation for the handbook, the unit that Sarah had mentioned, maybe incorporate some of Noreen's concerns?
I think more than anything, maybe we should look at it and see what's in there. I haven't looked at it in probably
Yeah,
since last summer.
yeah.
Sad to admit that, but
Well, no, I mean, just a reminder, take a look at it. And if there's, if we can improve the checklist, improve this, add some comments. They do forward the checklists over to the applicants. So if there's something we want them to address right away and they come in, or it's already taken care of, that's great.
I mean, it's
So,
tricky because, most projects will engage a landscape architect and the landscape architect will have that knowledge and will work with the owner to site the trees accordingly.
Right,
And, I really don't think that those are a bad selection of trees on that parcel. But it's really coming down to the owner's maintenance, and you really can't control how the owner maintains
right.
trees.
Yep.
So that's why I was kind of like going with maybe all it is just stopping in and saying, hey, I'm an active member of the conservation board, and just giving them some information and maybe it's just a recommendation.
Yeah, yep,
you know.
yep, that's good. And also with regard to the manual, just to keep in mind, we don't want to hem them in, hem designers in. We want to give them kind of free rein because that's when sometimes new methods come up as well. So we want to, we don't want to say we want this, and this. We say, hey, this is what we're looking for, but we're looking we're open to other ideas and sustainable practices as well. So that's a whole nother thing we could probably add to the manual, try to add a whole slew of sustainable items there. But anything else, anyone? Thanks for coming in tonight and thanks for joining us online. Our next meeting is April 6th, 2021, and I do need a motion and second for adjournment, please.
I'll make motion.
Sarah, how about a second? Somebody?
I'll second.
Thank you, Steve. All in favor? Please say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Great. We'll see have a good rest of the month and we'll see everyone next month.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Yep.
Good night.
Aye.
Have a good evening.